Right about now, Funk Soul Brother, what is up? It is the live stream lounge, and hanging out with me tonight is, oh wait, hold on, I gotta do this right. I always forget. Hanging out with me tonight. Casey got this for me for Christmas, and I haven't used this yet how I'm supposed to, because it's like karaoke. Tonight, in the live stream lounge, please welcome special guest Shaun Sarcona.
Hey, what up? Great to be here, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Of course, absolutely. Thank you for hanging out. So, Shaun Sarcona is the program coordinator of Media and Communication Arts. It's the department I teach in at Mocomb College, and also Shaun is the faculty advisor of 3D animation, or is it just animation?
3D animation is the main one.
3D animation, and there is so much that we are going to chat about tonight. I can't wait. We've got some hot topics that you guys might be interested in. But before anything, we need to make the traditional candy bar drinks. So, Cheeky, did you want coffee in yours?
Absolutely.
All right, so one no coffee, and then the rest are coffees. I got coffee right here. Good old. So have you had these?
I have never had those.
From Costco.
My daughter works at Starbucks, so I've never drank as many coffee-flavored, coffee-inspired drinks in the past 2 years since she started there.
Oh my gosh. Man, so what's your go-to? What's your favorite at Starbucks?
I have no idea. She just brings these drinks home and is like, try this. And I'm like, yeah, this is good. So there's a caramel one that's really good. It's got like syrup on it, like a crunchy.
I don't know what that one is. But I thought maybe it's what's the Casey, what is it that I like with the caramel that I usually drink from Starbucks?
Oh, caramel macchiato?
Caramel macchiato.
Probably that.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll go with that.
Anyway, all right. So we've got some. Next up, we are going to put in some delicious Irish cream. This is Ryan's Irish cream.
But you have it. It's Ryan's Irish, but you have it.
Yeah, it used to be Ryan's. No, it's Matt's. All right, so we're going to make this here, add a little bit here, a little bit here. Glug, 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 glug. So, man, we are going to be chatting. Oh, my gosh, I can't wait, Shaun, to chat about all things the creative arts and college, but also it's very exciting for our program because we've got a new building that we're moving into this year.
Very exciting.
Oh my gosh. And I feel like so much has changed recently with, when COVID happened, obviously, like different modalities, which we're going to chat about tonight. And then just the future is changing so fast. So just right off the bat, when things change so quick, are you excited about change? And do you embrace it fully? Or does every time there's like a new version of something, or is it like, I gotta learn this new software? Or do you find it as a challenge, and is it like riveting to you?
It is bittersweet. So I enjoy when something new comes out. I love when like Maya comes out with a brand new version. I love to download it and see what's new. And then I quickly close it and I try to forget about all the terrible things that I have to now see if I have to teach.
Okay.
But the industry drives us. That's what makes us do what we do. So they can have 100 new features, but if we're not needing those for our level, then what are we doing, right?
Yeah.
There's a million things that we could teach inside Maya, which is, an infinite number of things.
Yeah.
But it is, we just don't have the time.
Yeah.
Right? We got to get them what we have, get them the foundation, get them ready for the 3D to get out there and start working.
Yeah.
And get them the skills that they need to go out there and start doing the rest of the stuff. Because that's where it's all about, getting those skills, getting that foundation.
Yeah. And I can't wait to start talking about people like Steve Savali, who was an alumni, who has gone on to work for projects for Pixar, Marvel, American Horror Story, and like all kinds of cool stuff with that. But real quick, before we do that, real important. I need to know what flavors y'all want. So you guys get to choose where we're going to steer this. We've got mocha, glazed donut, peanut butter cup, cookie dough, butter toffee, salted caramel, and hazelnut.
I'm going with peanut butter cup.
Peanut butter cup? Jackie? Mocha, glazed donut, peanut butter cup, cookie dough, butter toffee, salted caramel, or hazelnut?
I think I want to try glazed donut.
All right.
That sounds good.
Cheeky, what about you?
I'm gonna go for a mocha.
Oh, I gotta open this one.
So are you excited about new stuff? Do you see new things for your area that you're like, oh, I definitely want to add this, or, you know, try incorporating some of this stuff in there?
You know, yes and no. It's tough because, you know, there was a time, just as an example, I remember, when was this? Maybe 15 years ago. I remember some people were at the college were talking about, like, I forget what it was called. It was called Painter, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And in my neck of the woods, in my circle of peeps, you know, in the industry, I had never heard anyone talk about this. I had never heard of it. And then I started to listen. Oh, thank you. I started to listen whenever I did hear it, but I really wasn't hearing much about it. And I remember, like, Ron Hood was like, I don't know, man, you got to be using Painter. That's like the new thing, you know, you're not jumping on it. And I was like, I'm not hearing anything about it. And then it just kind of like went away. And like, so part of me is kind of glad and I'm glad I didn't jump on that. At the same time, I can't have that attitude about everything that comes up and be like, this is just going to go away too. So, so it's tough. I kind of have the blessing of working a lot in the foundation area,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of that is traditional. And in my own work, I use digital stuff all the time. I'm on the computer way more than I am at the drawing desk, but it's nice that I don't have to worry as much about, you know, constant updates and all of that.
Well, us on the digital side really hate you for that, by the way. And we've had discussions about this too, because everyone else who teaches like a class on the computer, we have discussions about file saving, the servers, submitting stuff, understanding file management. And then Matt's just like, it's on paper, just turn it in.
Well, there's
not all before COVID.
Yeah. And there's challenges to what I do
for
as
sure.
well, but just different kinds of challenges. But you know, I think it's going to change though. I think in my time there, I think there is going to be a time, you know, I look very closely at like other schools to see what they're doing and how they're teaching certain classes, and they're still doing it traditional. But I feel like that's going to change pretty quick with this younger generation that has grown up never using pencils. And then they get to college and now they have to use pencils just so they don't use them again after, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think in my, not just in my lifetime, I think pretty soon, some changes are probably going to have to happen. All right, Jackie, this is for you. Cheeky, this is for you. Shawnee, this is for you.
Thank you.
This is for me. And let's make a toast. All right. Sometimes you save your change. Sometimes you scrounge. But tonight, we're living it up in the live stream lounge. Woohoo! I'm a poet and didn't know it. I had to think of a word that rhymed with lounge.
I'm trying.
That's really good.
Everyone's spilling
really
all over
Really
the
good.
place.
Really good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Delicious. I would like a paper towel.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that, like the students who don't have to use paper and pencil and then they come to us. It's like that scene in Back to the Future 2 where Marty's showing them how to use the video game Gunslinger. And he's like, wait, you have to use your hands?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to dive into it. Are you ready? Here we go. All right, hanging out with me tonight, Mr. Shaun Sarcona. We've got a couple comments already. The Enforcer OS says, "Sup, dudes? What is going on?" Marquise.
Hey, Marquis.
Marquis. Oh, Marquis. Hi. How are you? What is going on? Good to see you. The Enforcer OS says, "Ooh, 3D. Absolutely. We are going to be chatting all the things 3D tonight." Hey, Matthew Egon, the live stream has been rated TVMA. All right. What is up, my friend? All right. So, so we are going to get started with the party right now and hanging out with, real quick, I've just got some housekeeping to take care of. Thank you videos are constantly getting uploaded about once a week to the Aladdin 3477 YouTube channel. Draw this in your own style is always happening. So any of the Aladdin 3477 characters, use the hashtags and make sure that I see them. If you guys are cosplaying as Aladdin 3477 characters, I want to see. Last week, I dropped a vid that is a commentary on this book right here, the official collector's edition. Have you seen this yet?
I have not yet.
Oh my gosh, I am just so thrilled with this. Like, look at these dreamy layouts.
It's beautiful.
Like, I had so much fun, like, just putting this together and using my inner designer to kind of lay everything out. I had so much fun, but I put together a commentary that goes through the pages digitally. That way you don't see, like, reflections and glare and stuff. And kind of talked about how I designed the book and how it got printed and what the thought process was for, like, the colors that I used and how I kind of organized all of the information. But just had a blast putting it together. And the commentary is on YouTube, and you guys can check that out. I mean, don't check it out now. You guys should watch the live stream right now. But you guys can check that out later. Don't miss it. Also, last week, I thought it was really interesting. At Comic-Con International, they debuted a close look at Ahsoka's ship. It's now a little bit modified from what it was in the Clone Wars. This is a T-06 shuttle. And when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, that is the craziest thing, because the sky sail looks like this, which I thought was interesting. Now, by no means did I think that Dave Filoni copied or anything like that. It just so happens they both have this giant wing that's gray and has kind of this paint job that's kind of, I don't know. It's crazy. But I just like to think that great minds think alike. I came up with this ship when I was in college, and then the paint job specifically, I gave it as we were building it. So that would have been like 2015. But look, everything that I design is kind of Star Wars inspired anyway. And obviously this is meant to look like Star Wars as well. But I just thought that was kind of neat that they have just a similar design to them. So I want to know from you guys who wore it best. All right. And then before we dive into things here, I just wanted to say real quick that if you guys are considering taking classes at Mocomb College, if you live in the Metro Detroit area, now is the time to register for the fall semester. And we're going to be talking about, MACA, of course, but really we are one of the premier community colleges in the United States, obviously the best one in Michigan, but we're in the top 10 of the country. And we've got so many really, really good programs, and classes start in 3 weeks,
3.5 weeks, 4 weeks.
For tomorrow's Monday. So that's like 3 weeks. I think 3 weeks. Oh my gosh. So now is the time to register. We're going to be talking about the MACA program in a little bit. All right. So our special guest tonight is Mr. Shaun Sarcona, looking really dapper here, looking awesome. And I wanted to ask you about this. This, I'm assuming this is at the Sterling Fest. Was this yesterday?
Thursday.
Okay, Thursday.
Yep. So they ran Thursday through Saturday.
Okay. So I have a funny story. I was walking out yesterday. I was there with Casey. And if you were walking out, I was in a deep conversation with Casey, and she was, whatever it was we were talking about, she was real excited about something. and there was a gangle of girls that walked by, and one of the girls in front looked like one of your daughters. And I was like, oh my gosh, is that? No, it probably would. They wouldn't be in Sterling Heights or whatever. But Casey was so like whatever she was excited talking about. I was like, you know. But as the girls passed by us on the sidewalk, the last one that walked by, I was like, that looks like the other daughter of Jackie
They were there
and
yesterday.
Sean. Yeah.
Yep.
So I saw them and Casey was deep in conversation, so I didn't want to interrupt her. And I didn't also want to be the creeper that's like, hey, I'm friends with your dad.
Right. Your dad sent me here to pick you up.
But it was good. You know, I went to the Sterling Fest once, I want to say like 20 years ago. And so I've never been. I've always heard about it and stuff. I was blown away. It's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. We used to live in Sterling Heights, right around the corner from it. And so every year we used to go, and, you know, it was fun just to window shop, just to see what people are doing there. And then I think it was last year, our nephew decided to enter some of his artwork, because if you're under 18, you can get a booth for like $25.
Really? For the whole weekend?
For the whole weekend.
That's
for the 3
amazing.
days. Yep. And so he was able to sell quite a bit of his own artwork that he painted right in the booth. And then this year, our niece on the other side, well, on the same side, sort of, kind of. If you don't know, me and my wife were brothers married to sisters. So I married my wife. My brother married her sister.
Get
so
out.
There's this big, like, weird connection.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So my nephew on one side is also my nephew on the other side.
Your sister is married to your brother?
Correct.
So it's my sister and my sister-in-law.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait a minute. Wasn't there a TV show that was like that?
There's
in the
probably 100
80s?
TV shows.
It was like Seven Brides for Seven Brothers or
Right.
something like that?
Right, it was on TLC.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. So my niece did it this year also, and they both had like huge lines the entire weekend. And it was great because it not only shows that, you know, that people are still doing it, right? But there's also a market for it, because they had, like the one that you're seeing on the screen there, that's a photo booth. So for $5, my niece was drawing your photo. So you would sit down in front of this wooden box, and she would stand there or sit there and draw a picture of you, kind of like a caricature.
Yeah.
And so she had a line the entire day.
That is what a great idea.
And then my nephew on the other side, he was painting live the entire day. So you can go over there and watch him paint stuff, and then buy some of his stickers and some of his artwork right there. It was amazing.
So as soon as she's drawn 6 of these, she's already made money.
Yep.
That is awesome.
Yep. And she literally had a line all day long at all 3 days.
That is so cool.
And it's a great idea too.
Yeah. I love it. All right. So this, I have to assume this is the Hollywood Wax Museum or something like that. Okay.
Yeah, we went to San Francisco a number of years ago, and we walked through, and of course you can't stop by unless you get kicked in the face by Bruce Lee. So
love it. Oh my gosh, that is epic.
Yeah, it's very impressive when you see them up close and you see how detailed they are.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, that is really wild. Okay, so I have been blessed in recent years. There are a number of times that people have sent me photos online of my doppelganger. And my doppelganger apparently is not only he's the singer in Texas. He's like the singer of a Journey tribute band.
Wow.
But also, he at times he's in Bermuda saving dolphins, and there's a photo. It looks just like me carrying a wounded dolphin through a beach, and he looks so heroic. It's amazing. You also have some incredible doppelgangers, and you have to tell us about this. Like that is crazy. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of these are ones that people will, the same thing. They'll send me these pictures of random people, random things. And this one, I'm assuming, is from a movie called La Raffle.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
And it looks very similar to me. I will get stopped on the street, and people will just start having conversations with me, thinking that I am some random person. And it takes them and me like a few minutes to realize that we're talking about 2 different people.
Oh my gosh.
That was some guy at a coffee house my uncle sent me.
Nice.
And then that was in a book, a design book.
Yeah. That's wild, and I love that it's. When I saw the name of the file was s'mores,
Yeah.
because that's the article underneath. It's like this person's just like pensively contemplating s'mores.
Wait, how should you cook those s'mores?
Yeah, but the best. Oh my gosh!
Yep.
So this is like a slightly younger Shaun Sarcona, apparently a winner, hanging out with Alex Trebek
On Jeopardy. So
On
that
Jeopardy.
was Bill Soul found that one
Wow!
and sent it to me. And he actually lives in South Lyon.
What?
And he's a teacher.
What? Oh my gosh! And the crazy thing is, I could see you being on Jeopardy and slaying.
Oh, no. It would be the opposite. Yeah.
Really?
Trivia, forget about it.
Really?
Yeah.
I would think like random trivia, like it would be like.
If Alex asked me for random trivia, I would give it to him.
Oh.
But for them to throw stuff up there and me have to respond, forget that.
All right. That's awesome. All right. So I wanted to go through some of your work in some of what you do, some of what your role is in media and communication arts before we get to some hot topics. So this is, I know this looks like a photo of a sweet MACA hard drive, but this is obviously built in what, Maya or something?
This is actually Fusion. So last
Fusion.
summer, I wanted to try to find ways that we could model stuff faster, because just like everything in our industry, we're trying to build stuff faster and get it more output. So I learned Fusion just enough to build some stuff. And every day I made it a challenge to just, like, while I'm watching TV, build something.
Okay.
So one night I built a hard drive. So roughed it out, threw some stuff in there, and then rendered it out. And so a lot of the stuff that we're going to see is stuff that is the same thing. Like, it was a day. Now, that one was a project that we did for Intro to 3D, learning about basic polygon modeling, understanding how to put edges in, extrude things, bevel things, make some nice textures, tell a little story.
Okay.
And the idea with all of it, and anything that we do, just like illustration, is that we're trying to find ways to create modules that the students could then later put on top of each other to build other stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I taught you how to build a Mac, that's one thing. But if I taught you how to use the tools to build a Mac, hopefully you could use those tools to build anything, right? So that's one of those projects where we do that.
Yeah, that's wild. Super cool.
Yep, that's another project we do. It's a hologram type thing.
Yeah.
Now, what's cool about this one? This is a new toy, so we'll see how well the camera picks it up. So I have. Is this still good here? Like, they can see this?
Yeah. I think,
Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah. He's coming here. You want it closer?
Yeah, make it closer here. So you may have seen these things like on YouTube or TikTok or whatever, but basically this is a row of LEDs.
Okay.
And an image is going to show up on here.
So it's like a propeller that's going to spin, and we're going to see something.
Correct.
Oh my gosh.
As long as I didn't break it on the way over. Oh, maybe I did break it on the way over. There it goes. There it goes. Come on.
Maybe it looks cool so far.
No. There it goes. There it goes.
Whoa! Oh my gosh! What? Get out! It's like a real hologram.
Yeah. And then it's just a video. That's all that's playing on here is a video.
How long can you make the videos?
As long as you want. I didn't see a limit
What?
on them. But what's cool is that
Dude,
one of
it's
the...
like you could reach out and you probably
You
wouldn't
should
want
not.
to. That's amazing.
Yeah, and this is a small one. So this one runs about $30 or $40 on Amazon. Sometimes there's coupons. But they have ones that are like 18 inches long that are even bigger. And you can actually tie them together. So instead of just like one image, you could have multiple images. Yeah, there's like a hologram. But what a cool way to like show off your artwork.
Yeah.
And
That is
it's
so rad.
so simple. I was so surprised at how simple it was to just like make a video, put it on here, and that's it. And then it just works.
So when you go to wow, that is so cool. When you go to like different high schools or different like college well, that is so rad. I'm blown away at that. Do you have that like set up on a tripod, not where people can touch it, but kind of set up to, because man, you would probably get a lot of
Yeah, so I
attention.
literally got this like 2 weeks ago.
Okay, all right. So,
I haven't played with it much yet.
Yeah.
But it's very cool.
Yeah.
Typically, they have them behind plexiglass
Yeah.
so that you can't
So
ruin
people
them.
can't touch them.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Have you ever seen one of those, Cheeky?
No, I haven't.
That is so wild.
I've never seen.
They have the ones that they have. They'll have like these ones that are like this big, and they'll have like 3 of them inside of a glass or a plexiglass tube, and they'll put it on, and it's just like a 3D model of like a droid or something, and it looks like a hologram of a droid just floating in there.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It is like super cool
Wow.
technology.
Yeah.
But
That
if
is-
one breaks, that one looks like it goes about
Yeah.
to.
So what does something like that cost? Like one that
That
size?
one was like 30 to 40. The other ones go
Oh,
up to
that's
like
not that
hundreds
bad.
of dollars.
Yeah.
Which again, if you have a use for it, then it's definitely worth it.
Yeah. That is wild.
Yeah. So that's what's nice about the hologram one is now we can take that hologram, make an animation, throw it in there, and we can use it.
That is super cool. So this is something different though. This is something because this has like depth of field and stuff. What was
So that's the same idea, right? So that's just a hologram, but it's just for a still rendering or a little animation that would play flat on a TV screen.
Okay, cool.
So if we're doing a concept of, what something might be used for a movie or for a video game, we could utilize that.
So Dave Todd, the Enforcer OS says, I want one. What kind of device is it?
If you go to Amazon and you type in hologram fan, that will come up.
Hologram fan.
And you just look for the different, whatever price you want to put.
I would think if you type in hologram fan, it's like someone that's got one of those foam hands. It's like, I love a shirt that says, I love holograms.
Right.
That's so funny. That's awesome. So Marquis says, our Sarcona rocking it with new technology, keeping Mocomb's MACA program at the top. Absolutely. The Enforcer OS says, thanks. Brittany Oranger says, that is pretty cool. It is pretty cool. Oh my gosh, I'm just trying to think, like the possibilities are endless. Like, man,
Yep.
that is really cool.
Yeah, one guy had like a cube, like a backpack, a see-through backpack cube. He had the fan going in it, and it was just
No
like
way.
animations playing as he was walking around.
Wow.
Because it's just USB,
A
right? So if you
backpack,
just plug
yeah.
it into your USB charger, you can
Yeah.
go anywhere with it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And you put that under like a dome glass, then you have it looks more like a hologram.
Oh my gosh. If you could affix that fan to a drone, because they have the fan anyway, you could have holograms in the sky.
Right, with a single drone instead of
Yeah.
all of them. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. All right. So these are more. So this is Tony Maroney's Pizza Parlor.
Yep. So part of our projects, obviously, in every one of our classes, we're trying to expose students to a variety of subjects, right? So we had the droid, we had the hologram. This one, we're rebuilding an environment. So we found this company that has train models. And so this was actually a photograph of a train model that we rebuilt in 3D. And then we go through the process of laying out the UVs and texture mapping it, and then doing
Okay.
some cool renderings in it.
Nice.
And, with everything that we do, it's always like you start here and then you can take it as far as you want, right? So we could take that same thing if this was Tony Maroney's, right? We could put that onto this device. We could put it into a hologram. We could put it into a Google walkthrough, pathway. There's a lot we can do once
turn
we
it
get
into a
stuff
little
going.
toy or
Right,
what?
3D
Yeah.
print it, everything.
Wow. That is really cool.
This was another one that was a day challenge.
Okay.
So this one actually turned into one of our projects that we do, or at least starting to do, is all the front parts of this were all drawn inside of Illustrator.
Wow.
And then just going into Fusion, we're able to generate pretty much that whole model within 2 hours.
Now, what can you list what are all of the programs that you teach just in your area alone for 3D animation?
So it's a lot. Okay. So Cinema 4D, Maya, Fusion, ZBrush, Keyshot, Nuke, Substance, and then we'll do the other Adobe ones, Photoshop, Illustrator, After Effects, those.
Right. Yeah.
And then there's other like little ones along the way that we'll touch on different things just to kind of show. We talk about Blender a little bit, but most of the students who get into Blender already kind of know it.
Gotcha.
And they get kind of frustrated by, Maya is a different beast than Blender. So it's kind of like relearning those tools over.
Yeah.
And then this is just a little mechanical piece that we modeled inside of our modeling class. And then when we get to animation class, we animate them.
That's awesome. I love the depth of field in it, where it's like a little bit, the stuff that's further away. It looks, it looks like a photo. It's wild.
And then that was another one that was Fusion, just another couple-hour challenge, just watching TV, seeing what you can do with just some basic paths and just extrusions.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you got to throw on branding everywhere.
Of course. The Enforcer OS says, I can attest to differences in apps. That's for sure. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. This is wild. What's this?
Yep. That's just an interface. So same kind of thing, just Fusion for the model. And then this was probably like a 2-hour project. Okay. And it took longer to build the interface design than it did to model the shape or even render it out. So those kinds of things are really nice because they add nice filler pieces to your portfolio without taking weeks and weeks to do, right? So you can take something like that, and that could be animated. That could be just a still. You could have whatever you want on that interface and make a cool portfolio piece without having to spend weeks on it. And once you understand those concepts, it's like you could apply it across the board.
Yeah.
Even your device here, which, our next project coming up, we're going to do something like that instead of the radio.
Oh, cool. The Stream Deck?
Yeah.
Yep. That's wild.
Yeah. And this was an animation one. So this is something that, I model for the class, and then we go through the process of how do we animate all these pieces using some of the tools inside of Cinema 4D. How do we work with the graph editor, set keyframes, and then change colors, render things out, do some animation stuff with that. It's a lot of fun to do these kinds of things. And that's the idea. Like our area, we're very fortunate that we have such an ability to have fun with our projects, more than I think some of the other ones do. Right?
Yeah. There's just so much. What I think is so cool about it, and this is true of some specialties, maybe more than others, but just the idea of just experimenting. And there's so much where you're learning, and sometimes you build something, and this is true of even artwork, just, like a painting or something, but there's so many times where you were aiming for it to do this, it accidentally did this, but then you're like, actually, that's really cool. I might like that better than what I was trying to do.
Yep.
This is wild. You can't see it, but I love that. I love the Sarcona logo that you have in the I assume it's like an iPhone grip or whatever.
Yep. Just photorealistic modeling, taking those same principles from that Mac.
Yeah.
And now we're trying to do something that already exists in the real world and rebuilding it.
Yep. So cool. So I want to hear about this. I know about this, but I want to hear you talk about it.
So this was a project, I think it was 2017, maybe 2018. As you get older, time seems to just blur together. But Mocomb County was turning 200 years old, and they wanted some kind of torch that they could carry along this 200-mile trek through every city in the county. And so they came to Mocomb to, design and build these torches. And they gave us kind of, to a point, some carte blanche as to what we wanted to do. And so Mary Bush, our design instructor, helped design what the torch would look like. Some of our 3D students built the pieces in the torch. Some of our design students redid some of the logo stuff. And then we ended up actually 3D printing a whole mess of these torches for the county so that they could utilize those.
And so they ran carrying these.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So you can Google Mocomb County Torch 200-year anniversary and see people with something that, was inside of an artist's mind.
Yeah.
3D printed.
This is history.
Yeah.
This is really cool.
Yeah. It's probably one of the coolest projects I've ever been able to work on.
So rad. All right. So what's this? I was trying to, at first I was like, that's really good 3D, but I'm like, wait a minute. All right, this is a photo. What's going on here? What's this all about?
In my journey along the way to get to where I am, I started off in photography. That's what I was going to go into.
Really?
Yeah.
I was going to ask actually what how did you even get into the MACA department? Was it photo? Was what you were going for?
Initially, it was 3D, but there was no 3D back then.
Okay.
Right. So I actually took. This is really going to date. Like you guys have no idea. When we used to sign up for classes, we would actually come to campus to sign up for classes, and we would wait in these things called lines with other people, and you would talk to the instructors who were there. So one hot day in the middle of the 90s, I met Brian Sorial at one of these tables where he talked about 3D, and he talked about, Photoshop is where you enter the industry. Like, okay. So I took some of his classes. I think it was Freehand and PageMaker. Those were like the first two.
I remember PageMaker.
And there wasn't 3D at the time. MACA at the time was actually GCA and PRT, and they were kind of mixed.
Yeah.
And so I just started taking some classes, and I found I really liked photography. There was I worked at a movie theater called Star Theaters, and the night crew had this band, and they had these pictures that they had taken, but they had no way to develop them because they thought you could take black and white pictures and just develop black and white pictures. You can't, obviously, right? You have to go to a special place to get them developed.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll do it. I'll figure out how to do this. So that's what I did. I figured out how to develop black and white pictures, and that was like my first design freelancing job, is to do that. So I got into photography. I took photo 1, photo 2, which was black and white at that time. Photo 3, I think, was color, and then you take photo 3 again for color again. Before I finished my degree, we got 3D at Mocomb.
Okay.
And I said, nope, let's go over here.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I just basically just shifted everything over to 3D, over to Maya. We started with one system that was shared inside of a classroom. And so I would go there when nobody else was around, open lab, and I would use it. And then we eventually got 6 computers, and then I had more time. And I was spending so much time there. I'm just like, this is it.
Yeah.
So the image we see on the screen is just a photograph. So I still do some photography.
Yeah.
If you look me up, Sarcona S on Google Map photos, you will see I have millions of views of my photos, because that's when we go on vacation. I take photos everywhere we go and post them up there.
Yeah, that's so cool.
This place, we went to Portland, Maine is where that's at. And it was just like we go on road trips every year. Typically this year we didn't. And we drive around. We try out new restaurants. And so we found Cheese Louise. Uh-huh. If you've never been to a Cheese Louise, you have to try Cheese Louise. It is so good. They have 8 sandwiches is all they have. It takes about 25 minutes for you to get this sandwich, but it is so good.
Oh my gosh. And I love cheese.
Yeah.
And I always say Geez Louise. So I feel like this is like
that's what I keep calling it too. I'm like, what is it called? So that's one of my photos from Cheese Louise. And they started off during COVID as a food truck restaurant. Really? And then it was right before they started off as food trucks. Then during COVID, they brick and mortared, and then they are just expanding. And it's amazing food. And they have plants for sale too in the restaurant. So you can go there and buy a plant and get a great sandwich as well. I'm not endorsed by them, but I am open to opportunities 100%.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. Brittany says Brian is a great teacher. He is. We all have had Brian, and it's awesome that Brian is still rocking with us, keeping it alive, which is great. All right, so this is really cool. You've got a series of images here, and this is a whole subcategory of photography, which is, some people call it urban porn, or what? There's probably a better word for it, like decayed. What's the better word for it?
Decayed is works,
decayed,
right?
or decrepit or whatever.
Historical photography.
There you go. So what? So what is this? Is this like an abandoned school or something?
No. So a lot of, and this is going to sound weird too, right? So a lot of places we go, we try to find interesting spots. There's a lot of mental institutions that are closed down that you can tour. There's prisons that are closed down you can tour. Yeah. So that's what you're seeing here. I forget where this specific one is, but I think this one might be up in Traverse City.
I love just the paint that's just peeling off by itself, the textures and that's what,
stuff. It's really interesting when you hear about these things and you realize this was in some of these cases, like these closed down in the 80s.
Yeah.
And so they were still like, this is what it used to look like in the 80s where they like stopped doing anything.
Yeah.
It's very weird to think that people live there. It's very sad too. But it's just very interesting stuff that you wouldn't see anywhere else.
Yeah. This is cool. And I love it. It's maybe a little hard to tell for those of you looking at this on a small screen, but I love the depth of field with the focus right here and just how everything goes back. What is this crazy apparatus?
I have no idea. The tour guide didn't know. He's like, it's just some sort of device that they had that they were using for something. One of the prisons we did was the Shawshank prison.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my
We did the
gosh.
Shawshank prison was one that we toured. That was really cool to see. And then the other one was the one where Al Capone was in. And
Wow.
they have an audio tour for that one. And Steve Buscemi narrates it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That is epic. So cool.
This reminds me of like the M. Night movies.
Oh yeah.
The one where they're all in that. It's like Bruce Willis, Sam Jackson.
Unbreakable?
It's Unbreakable, but it's the
newer one. Oh yeah, I haven't
Glass,
seen
yeah.
that yet.
Glass,
I
yeah.
haven't seen that yet. And this is like
Yeah.
straight out of Silent Hill. Like,
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah, I mean, look
So
at how
wild.
like, can you imagine getting your hair cut or whatever was happening here? This is your dental area.
Yeah, strap. There's like a strap to like, so you can't escape.
Yeah, the one with Al Capone was really cool. I didn't grab any of those images, but there's like, because it's been so long, there's like trees like growing through the brick, and so you'll see this cell, and there's just this big trunk of a tree coming through it.
Wow,
It's so cool.
that is wild.
And then these are more of our projects that we work on for class, product
Yeah.
modeling. But then we go, we're doing labels too, right? So the 3D people have to understand the design concepts of what makes a good label, what makes it look like it's, realistic looking, and not just like, oh, you made a can and now you're rendering it out. We want to disconnect people from the process. We want them to feel like this is a real can and this is a real product.
Yeah, that's wild. So we're going to come back and talk more about MACA, but I want to talk about one of the hot topics, because I feel like everyone's talking these days where they're saying college, yes or no. They're listing the pros and the cons. And is a college degree worth it? And you've got some information here, some awesome facts that I'm going to let you run with. But I feel like it seems like as of late, more and more people are kind of saying like, you don't need to go to college. And they're finding little nuggets of truth that have truth to them. But I feel like they're finding specific examples and then they're just using it as a blanket thing. Like you don't need college anymore. And a big example would be something like filmmaking. And so people will say, look at Kevin Smith. He went to film school for 2 weeks, dropped out, and look at him now. And it's like, okay, that's Kevin Smith, but name any other director: George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, David Fincher, Christopher Nolan, name anyone else, or name the entire industry of anyone else who works in that industry. Chances are they went to school. Now, is that to say that it would be impossible to get a job working in film if you didn't have a degree? It's not impossible, but I mean, the fact is you have to educate yourself. And while it's true, you can find videos on YouTube for almost anything. I think we have this idea, like I look up videos on YouTube all the time, but I'm looking up videos of things I want to know about. And I think that's the difficulty, is people trying to break into a business. An artist might be real quick to look up a video on a new color pencil technique from an artist they think is really cool. But are they going to look up videos on how to do their taxes as a creative, how to put together a cover letter, how to make their resume, how to stand out are they going to look up all that stuff, or are they just going to look up the videos they want, and then when they don't get the job they want, I guess they'll blame it on something else at that point. So I think it's a little unfair. I think there are nuggets of truth when people, bring up reasons why maybe they don't want to go to college. But I feel like that's just like anything. You can find a statistics to support, whatever it is that you are trying to do. but I think it's a little unfair, some of the things that people will say. And you've got some juice that I want you to walk us through that I think is pretty interesting. As an artist, as a creative, is a college degree worth it? So I want you to walk us through some of this stuff. There's some pretty interesting numbers here.
So the biggest thing is that a lot of the stuff that we're seeing for this data that we're going to see, it's older, right? So our industry is constantly evolving, constantly changing. A lot of this is from stuff that is before 2020, right? At that point, our industry, the artistic industry, is nearly a $1 trillion industry, right? Worldwide, there's a $1 trillion of stuff that goes into artists. Now that includes every kind of art. It includes musicians and actors and writers and all of that stuff.
Sure.
Those are all artists.
Yeah.
But what we've seen from COVID is that art has gotten even more, right? There's more stuff being produced. Well, not now because of the writer's strike and the actor's strike.
Well, of course.
But once that's done,
Yeah.
there's more stuff. There's more video games. There's more movies. There's more content that people want to be building.
Yeah.
And so our area becomes more in demand for those types of things. There's more companies out there looking to make sure that they are able to be seen from that. I have to refresh my memory.
Yeah.
Closer there.
And it's kind of hard to read this. This blew my mind looking at this. So the first bar, and I believe that says
Artists.
it's something like it's some 3.5 or no, it's almost 4 billion, I think, is artists. And then I was so shocked, like legal occupation, and I think it says lawyers, and I think it also is paralegals. So legal is like less than artists. Like that, for some reason that boggled my mind. I guess it makes sense when I think about it, but and then less than that is accountants and auditors. Then scientists is next, lower, and then active duty, military, marketing and sales managers. And then I think that says physicians. It's so small, it's hard for me to read. Plus, I'm not wearing my glasses and I'm supposed to. Does that say physicians? And then athletes.
Physicians and surgeons, and athletes and coaches.
Athletes and coaches is obviously. So that's a huge eye opener when you see it. When you see that.
Yeah,
that's
Well,
crazy.
You look at every industry, every company relies on artists to some level, right? Every
Mhm.
legit company, I like to say,
Yeah.
right? Because they have to have a logo, they have to have a website, they have to have some sort of marketing, they have to have some sort of way that they're designing their packaging, their products, all of those things.
Right.
Like we're the ones who make all the stuff tolerable to look at for them to decide that they want to buy it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have the most jobs out there because of that. No, some of the jobs are not those high-end jobs. Some of the jobs might be just cutting out images, throwing them on a website. That might be a job. That's still an artist. That's still someone in our industry.
And you could say the same for all of these other professions, that not everyone that works in legal is like a hoity-toity lawyer that's rolling.
Not
in the
everyone's
dough.
Danny Crane.
Right. So really, really interesting. And this here, so this kind of lists some of the different artist employment. So it's got designers at the top. It's got art directors, animators, writers and authors, architects, musicians, photographers, producers and directors, announcers.
Now, what's interesting about all of these, whenever we see categorizing of artists, there was a really interesting webinar that I watched, and it's like, how do you categorize yourself? What are you, right? You're an illustrator, but you're also a movie maker. You're also an animator. You're also all of these things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So when we see something where it says like photographer, I could classify myself as a photographer, but I could also put myself in 15 other buckets.
Right.
Right. So artists, for the higher end ones, the ones who are more established, typically they're going to be in 4 or 5 different buckets at least.
Yeah. And especially as time goes on, I feel like when I was growing up as a kid, you were always told you pick one thing to be proficient in. Otherwise you're spreading yourself too thin, where now it's almost the opposite. It's like the more viable you are, the more hats you can wear.
The more you can do with it.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that's interesting about this is I think there might be some confusion here. You see things like designers at the top and you see actors way down at the bottom. So this is just showing the number, I believe the number of jobs, not how much money people are making.
Correct. No, this is the number of jobs.
Yeah. Super cool. We have some comments actually that I'm missing. So Ted ED says, howdy, 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 ho. My school is the streets, the school of hard knocks. Hey, you know what? If you're educating yourself, education is where it's at. But
you might be in a graffiti class though.
We've got some figures here that are pretty wild to see. So this is interesting. This is the same but different, and it says that this is showing that artists is very similar to the American workforce. So tell us about this.
So the people always, we are bunched in to old sayings, right? The starving artist, right? Because our jobs, our industry is very hard to classify. Like, what is the one thing you do that is your job, right? Are you a welder? Are you this person? Are you that person? We're artists, so we're all over the place. So the starving artist, it shows right there, we're not the starving artist, right?
Yeah,
because we're above the median income for the U.S.
Yeah. So the average U.S. worker makes $44,000 a year. The average artist makes 52.8.
Yeah. So it shows that, we're not starving artists, but it also shows that in order for us to do that, we do have to be broad in our stuff, right? We can't be just the photographer who only photographs cats, because what kind of market is that? We're a photographer who does cats and dogs and chickens and rhinos and whatever else you need. And we're able to get all of that work, right? So we got to be diverse, and it's a blessing and it's a curse because we have to be so diverse in what we do.
Yeah. So this says the percent of self-employed. So this is interesting. And this is something that I think is changing all over the place, but especially, it looks like you might have, if you want me to see, I can probably fix that here. So tell us about this, where 9.4% of US workers and then 34.1% of artists are self-employed.
Yeah. So typically, like in our industry, we have so many people that are employed, for an actual company. They're working for a person and they're getting a paycheck and they're going there 9 to 5. But we have a lot of artists who are self-employed, who work either out of their house or they work out of their own studio or they have a collective. There's a lot of different areas that people might be doing that. And then what we're seeing with that bottom one is that in the photographers realm, that obviously there's a lot of photographers who do freelancing stuff, because for the most part, there aren't companies who are hiring hundreds of photographers. There's not companies who are hiring, all these people to be on staff. They'll outsource people. They'll bring people in. Typically, a photographer might have his own studio, and now he's working for themselves. Right. And so the more you're able to do those kinds of things, the better off you're able to be, because we've seen that over the course of the last 10, 20 years, that a lot of the bigger studios have really downsized into smaller studios, and they're just outsourcing a lot of the work to either local talent or bringing in people to help them do the work instead of keeping them on staff.
Yeah.
And that frees up the artist, because when there is downtime, they're able to go to other places if they want, or they're able to go on vacation if they want to go on vacation. They don't have to okay it with their boss. They could just, kind of schedule their stuff. And especially when you get into like the movies and the game industry, those bigger studios typically have a set staff, but they also have a bunch of freelancers who also work on it. And they may work for 3-4 months and then be off for 2 months, and then work for 3-4 months, be off for 2 months. And that's just kind of like their way that they like to work. And that's great because you have that functionality to be able to do that.
Ted ED says, and Mr. Bush's, you can call me Matt, you know that, and Mr. Bush's fantastic storyboard classes. Oh, yeah. What is up? So this right here, artists are well educated. So this is pretty interesting. This, according to this, 63% of artists are more of professional artists are more likely to have a college degree compared to 36% of U.S. workers. So you're seeing that a little bit more, where some people are just going right into the workforce, but still for artists. And I just think it's important. I think for us, I think having a well-rounded education is pretty important. Is it possible to do it yourself? It is. But who's going to do that? And who's going to know even where, like what to research? I feel like, not that we spoon feed it, but we have a particular program with particular classes, and not everyone's excited about all of all the classes they have to take, but the students that that graduate are just very well-rounded. And you know how our job placement is, and how good it is for us, students finding work. And there are so many companies that come to us and say how much they appreciate seeing Mocomb students, that they know right away. Like when they see something good, they're like, "Did you go to Mocomb?" And they're like, "Yeah, how did you know?" And they're like, "Thought so." And a lot of times these companies come to us first and say, "Do you have anyone?"
Yep.
Because they want to snatch our recent grads before anyone else, which is just awesome. But really, really interesting.
Well, and too, with the training, it's one thing to be trained on how to draw a person, but it's another thing for them to show you their drawing, and for you to be able to look at it within a minute and say, "This is where you're messing up." That feedback is where you're not going to be able to get that anywhere else.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I've seen it before. I'm on Facebook, I'm on TikTok, I'm on all these things, and people will post stuff. What do you think? And you'll get a lot of like, "Wow, that looks cool. Great job."
Yeah.
Very rarely do you get someone who's going to take the time to actually go through and break apart your stuff and show you how to grow from what you have.
Yeah.
And get you to those next steps.
You know what else I think is something that I don't hear a lot of people talking about, something I think about all the time with my own education that I had. My education, and kind of what made me who I am today, is an amalgam of every teacher that I had. And I feel like if a student had me for every single class, I feel like, they would learn a lot of really good tricks. They'd learn a lot of, cool things, but but it's not enough. They would only be learning what I know. But I feel like a true education, you're kind of picking and choosing all of these things from like a wide range of different teachers. I feel like in our department, or in my area alone, when you learn stuff from me, and then you learn stuff from someone like Garth, who also is like a master illustrator, but in a completely different way from what I do, with completely different experiences from what I have, like that alone like doubles what students are getting, and I just think that's something that without a formal post-secondary education, you're just not getting any of that.
Yeah. Larry taught one of my Photoshop classes, and he would show people, he's like, "Hey, this is what Shaun does in the videos, and you can watch it and follow that. And that might connect for you. Let me show you another way. And this is how I do it." And it was basically color selection, right? So I would go about it more of a holistic manner. I'm going to pick a color, an exact number, and then I'm going to use math to figure out what colors go with it. That worked for me. For Larry, he's like, "Just pick something over here that worked good and make sure it balances and blah, blah, blah." And for some people, my method would work, and for some people, his would. But getting both of those is what helps that student find where their pathway is.
Yeah.
And helps them get to that next level.
And that's so great for something like Photoshop, because I feel like there's so many different ways to use it that, like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's just so powerful, so much that it does. Brittany says, "These charts give me a lot of hope for my future." Yeah, you're in the right place for sure. Absolutely. John Holland.
Hey, John.
Hey, Mr. Matt and Sir Shaun. What is up, John? All right. So real quick, we're going to talk more about the media and communication arts, but real quick, I wanted to segue into a little bit of what's going on with Aladdin 3477. So obviously the backer kit is what's going on right now. This is kind of how everything is going together. I'm a little bit behind, so we're going to gloss past that. But I've actually been putting together more swag boxes because some of you who didn't originally fill out the survey have been doing that. And I appreciate everyone that's been sharing photos or videos of your unboxings and everything that's in your swag box. Super appreciated. Really cool. Don't forget, there's a video on how to build the Hong Kong Trooper minifig, because that one's a little bit complicated. If you don't know what to do with the pieces, I'm seeing a lot of photos of people building the figure, but then they have all these extra pieces that they didn't know what to do with. So I'm going to do a video for each of the figures, because even the Aladdin figure, a lot of people are confused how to make the tracking light. Yeah, you just want to hold that up a little bit, or the cord a little bit higher, because the cord, it's almost like the cord is helping push it up. You got it. So the pens also, I keep saying this because I think people don't know about the pens. Have you heard about the pen, or did you hear the story about this? Okay, so this pen is supposed to light up. So when I unboxed these, I got real excited and I showed it to the camera, and then I clicked it on and it didn't turn on. I was like, oh man. I'm like, the battery must be dead in this one. So James, who was filming that time, he took it and he said, well, here, let me try. So he closed it and then we turned it on. I'm like, oh my gosh, there it is. I'm like, what did you do? And he goes, I don't know. So I took it back and I said, well, you kind of went like, and it didn't turn on. I'm like, what? And he said, here, give me that. And he said, man, what did I do? He's like, maybe I kind of flicked it and then like it turned on. I'm like, so wait, I took it back and I said, here, let me try. So you flicked it and it didn't turn on. This went on for like 45 minutes until it finally occurred to me, oh my gosh, every other time it turns on, which is actually really cool, because sometimes you don't want maybe no one's there to show it off. And so I'll save the battery for when someone sees it and you just want to write with it without the light on.
It's like a Charlie Chaplin sketch.
This went on for like 45 minutes or something. It was so funny. Anyway, so this pen lights up. So check it out. You have to, otherwise there's probably so many people that use it once and it isn't until the second time that they use it that they're like, what? I had no idea. So check that out. So last week we were talking a little bit about people stealing your art and making money off it. So it was brought to my attention on Amazon that someone is selling tin signs of the Aladdin 3477 teaser poster. So of course I ordered one, and we talked about this a little bit last week, but you know what? Because I'm not making Aladdin tin signs, you guys are welcome. If they're $10, go ahead and order these, because even though I'm not making any money from these, if you guys really want a tin sign to hang up in your house, it's kind of cool, right? It's the printing quality is okay, but I mean, if you're into tin signs, they made it all distressed around the edges. They probably just stole the image from IMDb or something.
Right-clicked and saved as.
Yeah,
started producing.
That's the image. So if you want one of these for $10, I have no problem with that. Go ahead and order from Amazon. All right, so I have a slight unboxing right now. I actually already unboxed it, but I wanted to share with you guys something that you guys are getting in swag box number 2. So there's a couple people that have talked to me that have said this. In the first swag box, I had regular bumper stickers that just had the logo on it, but it was the old logo for Aladdin 3477, and it's just kind of plain, just a black bumper sticker with the logo. So while some people were helping me put some of the swag boxes together, they kind of came to the conclusion, Matt, you know what you need? You need like a die cut sticker with the new logo, and then you just need Fidgy, like something to catch people's attention, cool robot, name of the brand, and you need to have those. Like, people need these stickers, and they got to be good bumper stickers, weatherproof and everything. And a lot of people have been saying that. So I am happy to unveil, coming in the next swag box, this is the new, oh no, this is the new right here. Oh, and in fact, I'm going to turn this light on right here. This is the new, it's not even die cut, it's kiss cut. So it's got this really cool, it's a Fidgy Aladdin 3477. It's vinyl UV, and it's a waterproof sticker. You might have to do the thing. Yeah, I can tell you what's wrong. There's too much of the cord that's pulling on it. So you have to give it a little bit more. So it's almost pushing it up. And then if you push that button twice, that'll let it down. Now push it again twice.
Pushed it twice. It is
down. Okay, now push it again twice.
Portrait now.
Yeah, do it again twice. There you go. You have to help it.
It's struggling.
Yeah, you have to help it, because if you, it's too heavy.
Technical difficulties.
You have to hold it and then do. There you go. And then just kind of help it.
All right.
Like that. That should be good.
Back in business for now.
Everyone at home is like, whoa. You might have to push it again.
This is MTV, Matt TV.
And then again.
Okay.
All right.
I think I got it.
You got it. Okay. So anyway, all right. So here's what's up. So this is what they look like on there. It's got the gin symbol. And then this is what they look like when it's just, this is what it looks like out of the, it's a Kiss Cut sticker. It's real easy. I like the Kiss Cut ones because if it was just like this, you'd be like trying to peel and trying to get the edges. It's really difficult. But when it's Kiss Cut, it's real easy to find the edge. Well, I say that, and now I can't get it. Hold on. There we go. So it peels real easy, right? So what I wanted to do, I've seen a couple of you post pictures of where you're putting your stickers. So what I thought I would do, because I want to see you guys doing this, I wanted to have Shaun help me decorate. This is one of my script books. And what I like to do, I just like to put random stickers everywhere. So this is one of the script books while we were filming that has all of my notes. And some of you guys that are part of the Sky Sail Sky Club, you've been getting actual pages from this. So we're going to take turns. First, look, this is all scraped. Look how scraped that is. This book has been like at the Packard plant, like getting scraped across like concrete and everything. So what I want to do, I'm going to put a sticker on, and we're just going to take turns finding cool places to put stickers. So I'm going to cover the old logo. I just want to make sure I don't cover Punch It Chewy. Look at that, the Electric Company. Do you remember the Electric Company? Yeah. Old school. All right, look at that. Oh my gosh, it looks so cool.
It's got a brand new binder now.
All right, so we got to put these stickers, this sticker sheet, by the way, Deanna Sheehan put this together. Isn't that beautiful?
It is.
It looks like a real sticker sheet. I mean, it is a real sticker sheet, but like it looks
stuff
legit.
that we used to have when we were younger.
Yeah.
Don't make this stuff anymore.
All
I
right.
do. Maybe with the big one.
The Red Star. So I want to see, I've seen a couple places where you guys are putting your stickers. Love it.
Half cover up the apple.
All right, I'm going to put Aladdin chilling out next to Marilyn Monroe. He's like, what up? That's so rad. Oh my gosh. It's like, look at that. It's Eric Steele hanging out
with Marilyn.
With zombie Marilyn. All right, front, back. Where's the next one going?
This one right here.
Oh, the Gin of Wisdom symbol.
There you go.
Very nice. All right, so Taj Mahal. Where's the Taj going to go? I'm going to put the Taj right up there. This is fun. Oh my gosh. What, do you
remember those sticker books where you would get where they would say like page 4, number 3, and you'd have to flip to page 4, number 3 and put that sticker there?
You know, I had a lot of friends that had like binders full of stickers, and I think I had one too. You know what I was obsessed with when I was a kid, but I didn't actually have any? Scratch and sniff stickers. Do you remember those?
I do.
Those were the coolest thing. And the reason I didn't have any, this is so embarrassing. I wanted them so bad. Teachers would give them to students that would do really well and get like perfect scores on so all my friends, they had like a root beer one and like a strawberry one. And I thought sometimes they'd let me scratch them and smell them and stuff. I thought they were so cool. I've never had a scratch and sniff sticker of my own.
Really?
So if you ever know, like for my birthday, like what to get, like if you surprise me with scratch and sniff stickers, oh my God, that would be amazing.
But not joke ones, right? They'd have to be real ones like root beer and strawberry.
Yeah, like the old school scratch.
Yeah, not like the Harry Potter gummy bears.
Harry Potter gummy bear. Oh.
Or the beans.
Oh.
I put that one on the side.
Very good. There. All right, good. You know what else would be kind of cool on the side is maybe this sword.
We went to the Magic Bag last night.
Oh yeah, who's playing?
The Mega 80s.
Oh yeah, how was it? Was it fun?
Very good. I did not wear any ear protection, so I'm still ringing a little bit.
Oh.
But behind them during one of their songs, they had like every scratch and sniff sticker
Yeah.
would come out. The sticker would come out, and then this like single finger that's like scratching it, and then this nose would come out while they're playing their music.
That's interesting.
Great show, by the way. Great show. If you get a chance to go to the Magic Bag, amazing. Just wear some sort of ear protection because that definitely helps. I'm paying on the back end and put something on the back.
My first date with Casey, we went to I had to meet up with someone. Someone was borrowing my fog machine. And so I asked Casey if she wanted to go with me to Smalls, and it was 80s night. And it was like 80s new wave or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be all like Depeche Mode and Duran Duran and Susie and the Banshees and stuff like that. So we went, and I'm not even sure I knew a single song they played that night. It was all like really obscure, like industrial and stuff. Casey, did you even know any of the music? Like, I didn't know any. So we were dancing. It was just awkward because we were like, and it's weird because it's like 80s industrial. It's really, it's like heavy,
genre.
it's almost like Nine Inch Nails, but I don't think any of it was Nine Inch Nails.
Right.
So we're just like I didn't know how to dance to it. It was just like, like, and it's like old but heavy. It was bizarre. So that was our awkward we had so much fun, but
Yeah.
it was.
Well, I don't know how these people do it. They basically went from like the best part of one song right into the best part of the next song, right into the best part of the next song for like 45 minutes straight. It was like, I'm just saying that was like the main part. And then then they did like several like full songs, and they never stopped. It was like, I don't go to many concerts. So it's probably the best concert I've been.
All right, Princess Kamala.
I went to Fiji.
So I want to see where you guys are putting your stickers. These would look great on your cell phone, on your laptop. Where would
Or if you find restaurants where they put the stickers on the walls and stuff, those are cool too. I can't remember the name of that one we went to, but there were stickers all over the place. And then we went to a hotel, and their elevators were all stickers. People would just come in and put stickers inside the elevators. It was pretty awesome. I think that was Phoenix. Yeah, that was in Phoenix. That was awesome.
The Kit Kat Club, that karaoke bar, they have stickers everywhere too.
Yeah. That's awesome. And side representation.
That's a Romo killing machine. Very nice.
Where's the origins of this binder? Is this something that you've had like for 20 years? Because I see the MLB logo on here. I don't know if this is like from when you were in grade school.
I don't think that's I think that's a Jedi. It looks
it is, okay.
But it's actually a Jedi. This is, I probably had this probably when I was like a student at Art Center or something like that. It might
That's
be
so
from
funny.
California. All right, I'm gonna do Grand Vizier shuttle.
Oh, come on. He keeps doing it.
I know it's difficult. It's just you got to find a sweet spot where it's like pushing it up, and you got to help it up. Otherwise, it will, it'll just fall again.
I think it's working.
Okay, you just got to make sure it's got some good. Yeah,
Like I'm holding
or not even
still,
slack,
and
but
then
it's almost pushing it up.
Yeah.
Those are they need to make ones that are actually for phones that don't do this, right? I've had ones, same thing, where it would like sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then we upgraded our phones. It's like, nope, it's only for this previous model. It's not for the next model because it's 3 ounces more.
Yeah. Well, the reason I had to do the cable is because if I just did Bluetooth, there was a real noticeable lag.
Oh, for sure.
And there's still like a hair lag, but it's not as bad with the actual cable.
All right, last sticker.
All right, the Gin of Wisdom lamp. Very nice. Awesome. I feel like, oh my gosh, it's complete. This looks great.
That's awesome.
Look at that. Awesome. So these stickers are coming in your next swag box. Can't wait. They look like this. And then when you peel off the good stuff, it looks like this. All right. Again, I want to see those stickers real quick. The t-shirts are moving fast. And in fact, this week sold out of not just one, but two sizes of the Bollywood Princess shirts. Smalls and mediums are gone. If you wanted one, too late. So, but the rest of the sizes are left. If you go to the pre-sale store, it'll say which ones are there. And in fact, here is the link right here if you want to check that out. Hey, what's up, Annie? I hope all is well in Colorado. And Brian Sorio lives in Colorado, so you need to say hi to him. John Holland says, not much, sirs, working at a video shoot for State of Mind and No Resolve with Kendall Tucker presently. Nice. Very nice. Very cool. Deanna says, oh, thanks for the shout out. Thank you, Deanna. I am so happy with the sticker sheet. And oh my gosh, so fun to play with those stickers. I can't wait. I've got some enamel pins and all kinds of stuff for you. The Enforcer OS has randomly put them on restaurant menus. Oh yeah. And especially like I want to get a Pradeep sticker to put by Pradeep Dish Pizza and Fiji Fudge. I need to get stickers for that. All right. So moving on, I want to chat about the future of creative work. Like, where is all of this going? What are some of the trends? Mind grabbing that light really quick, just so we can get the mood lighting all romantic in here again. What is the creative or what is the future of creative work? Oh, I had this
That's
right.
The
it's sideways. Yeah. What is the future of media? Things are changing so fast. And we're going to get to these charts now in a second. But what are some trends that you see? What are some of the things that you notice in our Department of Media and Communication Arts? What are some of the things that don't really change or haven't changed much? And what are some of the things that are changing all the time?
The things that don't change are the traditional stuff. The design is still design. Like, we're still using the same elements with same principles. We might use them differently, but we're still understanding those things. We still need to be great communicators. We still need to be someone who can go out there and tell a good story and connect with people, because essentially that's what artists are doing. It doesn't matter if we're in the live lounge or we're selling Pepsi or we're doing whatever. We're communicators and we're connecting with different people. And so we still need to be able to do that. Obviously, the biggest challenge or the biggest thing that seems to be coming up is the future of AI. Like, what is that going to entail? And, I don't think we really know yet what's going to happen with AI. I know, like, if you have Adobe Creative Cloud, you can play with Photoshop beta and you can see some of the crazy stuff that it can do. I haven't been incredibly impressed with it. There's some stuff that it can do okay, but still, it's not creating stuff. It's just putting stuff together. And if all you're looking for is just throw stuff together that doesn't really blend well, it doesn't look good, sure. Yeah. But if you're really trying to tell a story and connect with people, I can't think of a worse way to connect with people than let a robot do it. Because, we're the ones who are telling the stories. We're the ones who are communicating things. Yeah. The future of artists is not going to be typing something into a prompt and then picking the best of 12 images. It's going to be someone who comes up with great ideas and puts them out there. Yeah. Now, we'll still use AI. We might use it for concept development, or we might use it to get the ball rolling, or maybe, you hit a roadblock and you're just stuck. Like, what else could I do to this thing?
Well, and a lot of people argue that if you've been using Photoshop in the last 15 years, you've already been using AI with things like the Magic Tool and for Pro Tools, the same thing. Like, there's all kinds of AI that it's using to help fix certain, issues and everything. So there are some cool things that it can do. I feel like, to a degree, not that it isn't something to be concerned about, but I feel like everyone's kind of up in arms about it. But I feel like right now it's just kind of a hot thing that people are playing with, just like last year it was that there was like an app where everyone was turning their profile picture into like a watercolor, like that specific, and it actually looked kind of like how I do my artwork, but like that came and went. It was a fad. Now no one really cares if you have a fake watercolor profile picture. And then even a couple years ago, there was another app where everything looked like a color, and it made it look like a really good illustration, but it was like this one trick pony thing where everything, I think Prism maybe is what that app was called. And everyone was turning their Instagram photos into Prism thing. And then people forgot about it. It was just like it was a one trick pony.
When it becomes so automatic that anyone can do it, nobody cares about it after a month.
Yeah.
Right. The new Samuel L. Jackson show on Disney, the opening credits for that is all done by AI.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it's all done by AI, and they, that's their claim to it. But they've used AI for other stuff. When they did the Hulk in some of those movies, they would do motion capture on Mark Ruffalo's face. They would use AI to kind of blend some stuff to get more realistic feels to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would still go back by hand and enhance all those things because AI still doesn't have that.
Right.
And we're never going to get to a point, at least I don't think anytime soon, where it's just going to be exactly what someone's looking for, right? Mm-hmm. I want a Pepsi can that has water droplets on it on the beach and blah, blah, blah. Like, you might get it, but it's not going to be the same coloring, the same environment, the same angle, all the other stuff.
Yeah.
I think we're still far away from it. The things that, for 3D that we look at is VR is changing a lot of the stuff that we do. Years ago, I used to, think about, like, at some point movies are going to be made in Unreal Engine because you'll just be able to upload all your assets and just do the animations like you're playing a video game. And we're very close to that kind of stuff right now. Even stuff that used to be hundreds of thousands of dollars has drastically dropped in price. Just for, this next upcoming semester, we got some motion capture suits. So we're going to be really looking into utilizing some of those in our stuff.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't take away from animation that we need to do.
Of course.
Because it's not accurate. When I go like this with my motion capture suit, the 3D model goes like this.
Right.
And they know that that's something that it's going to do because that's how they are set up. So the animator still needs to do something.
Yeah.
They still need to go in there and finesse and tweak and help exaggerate and tell that story. Because if we wanted humans to act like humans in movies, we would just hire humans. But typically we want them to be more exaggerated than a human can be. Mm-hmm. So we have to push those limits. We have to go further than we can. So I'm excited to use those. I've played around with them a little bit. I'm excited with VR helmets. I want to really start playing with those a lot more. I've just got it set up where I can actually make stuff in Unreal and look at it in VR and interact with it in VR. So I'm really excited about that too. Creativity is creativity. That will never go away. The only thing that'll diminish it is if people accept that they don't want things creative, right? Which we already know they do. That's why we watch a Super Bowl. That's why we watch commercials during the Super Bowl.
That's the best. And I think it's the one area where normally during a show when the commercials come on, the views go away and then it comes back on later. But the Super Bowl, the highest views are actually during the commercials.
That's the only reason I watch the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Ted ED says maybe you could attend a mixer on August 8th in Royal Oak at 5th Avenue Bar and Grill. Have you been to any of those filmmaker mixers where it's all the local filmmakers get together?
I went to one of them. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a mixer. It was the CMFX one.
Okay.
But it was at another school.
Uh-huh.
And it was great. It was good talking to people, seeing what they're doing.
Yeah.
I plan on doing more of those types of things. It's always just that time, the time that we have available. I always push those things out to my students as well to try to get them.
Mm-hmm.
But in October, we're hoping to have CMFX out to our campus and do a little presentation there and kind of talk about the industry, talk about what they're doing, and bring people together some more.
The filmmaker one is really cool. They get a lot of people out there, and that might be a really good thing for us because it's really cool where when you go in, they give you a name tag, and there are different color name tags that say, "Hi, I'm a filmmaker. Hi, I'm an editor. Hi, I'm a makeup artist. Hi, I do visual effects or whatever. So if you are making a project and let's say you needed someone that did, a specific kind, or maybe sound or voiceovers or whatever, you can see right away through a sea of people, okay, I'm looking for the green name tags and, oh, there's someone right there. And then, it's like a really cool networking thing, but having a little setup for MACA might be
That's awesome.
Might be a cool thing to do. Absolutely. I think that's a great idea. Clark Iverson in the hizzle. What is up? The complex answer to the question, is it worth it, is yes, but perhaps not for the reason that you'd suppose. The study of creative arts and media is, like all creative study, the central to the development of civilization. Without the arts, there is no civilization. I love that. You put it so much. Gosh, you should teach English or something like that. You put it so much more eloquently than we're able to say. Thank you, Clark. I look forward to seeing you in 3 weeks, top hat and all. Of course, that's if the if we can get an agreement between the instructors and the admin, but we won't talk about that until there's something to talk about. Never not be networking. Absolutely, Ted. I'll look into that. Thanks. Awesome. All right. So I wanted to talk about this. There's some other slides similar to the ones before, but this is kind of talking a little bit about growth in the arts. So I wanted you to walk us through some of these slides.
Yeah. So you can see again, like our industry right now, it's or in 2019, it was $1 trillion nearly. And like I said, we've grown since then. We're not shrinking. Our jobs are changing though. So a job that we had 5 years ago is definitely changed. We used to be able to do you used to be able to be a photographer solely for, a good 20, 30 years, your entire career. But now you might be doing video as well. You might be doing design as well. Thank you. There's a lot of different things that are changing, and that just gives us more opportunities and more areas that we can continually play with.
Do you need more ice?
Yep. So our stuff is always going to grow, and those new things, those new technologies just bring more people into our bucket. You're going to see a lot more crossover between a lot more areas. So at one point, the tech side and the graphic side were pretty separated. And over the course of the last several years, we've seen them really kind of blending together. We have people who are in graphics who go into tech, and people who are in tech who come into graphics. And just the more we're able to create these openings and these opportunities, you'll see this area grow more and more and more. So it's obviously an exciting / scary / confusing time for all of us.
Mm-hmm. So this here in Export Powerhouse. So this is kind of showing some of the different ways that it's splitting up. There's movie and TV shows is 17.5 billion. Manufactured jewelry, creative advertising is 16.9, almost on par with movies and TV, which is interesting.
Yep.
Arts related software, publishing, video games, just wild. And then so this is the fastest growing areas of arts and cultural industries.
Yep.
So so I can barely read these, but
the top one is I think it says web.
Okay.
Web. Something in streaming services.
Yeah.
So we know that streaming has become a huge thing, especially with Apple, Disney, Netflix, Hulu, Paramount, all of those different channels. And then also obviously creating all that other material for those pieces too. And so we just see all of our industries are growing. You will see some things that do drop down. Some things are going to pick up, just like every other industry. The good thing is that we have more opportunities. We have more ways that we can apply our stuff to what we're doing. As a photographer, you used to use a specific kind of camera that didn't typically translate too well into video. Now what you're using is the same camera you might be videotaping with, is the same one you're doing your photographing with, and the same one you use your lights for photography are very similar to the ones you might use for video. Now, not super high-end professional video or super high-end photography, but very similar. Thank you.
So Tracy Wayne Surgeoner just left a comment, and this is kind of an inside joke. He said, "Can you explain the process?" So this is so funny. One of the times that I got to spend some time with Gene Simmons from KISS, I had done some artwork for him for a couple of his projects, but I was showing him some of the latest pieces, and he was there with his son promoting the Family Jewels show, but he was going through my work, some of the stuff that he hadn't seen yet. I had already turned it into the editors, but he actually hadn't seen it. And he just kept saying over and over, he kept saying, "Can you explain the process?" And he thought that, and they were just drawings and paintings, that was just like regular artwork. But he thought that it was all computerized. And so he kept saying, so Photoshop and it's a digital. And I said, no, it's I draw it by hand, and once I have the pencils and I get those approved, then I just paint on top. And he's like, "I'm just so fascinated. Can you explain the process? Because you scan them in, and then no, and it was, for some reason he couldn't get that, and he just kept saying over and over, 'Can you explain the process?' But
That's hilarious.
It's just so funny." So arts and the creative economy, man, 584.5 billion, and web publishing and streaming publishing and sound recording, just wild. And it's growing. It's hugely growing.
And what we don't really see on there too, like these are the regular jobs that we're seeing here. There's some freelancing, it's reported stuff. Since COVID's happened, how many people are on TikTok creating content? They're video editors, they're content creators. That's including all of those. There's people making their entire salaries off of just what they're doing out in those worlds.
Right. And also, I know even with my own career, while most of the jobs and the clients that I've had are legit, and I've got to do taxes, and fill out all the forms and everything, there's also a lot of times where I get hired where people say, "Hey, can you do this thing? I'll pay you under the table," or whatever. And I'm not supposed to do that, but it works out great, and it works, good for them. And it's straight up real quick money. So this is just the stuff that gets reported,
right?
So there's a lot, not that I would advise, doing all kinds of stuff under the table, but it happens. So there's a lot that we're not seeing here, obviously.
Yeah, other areas of the industry also do that. So it's not like they're the only ones who might get a $200 job that we just don't claim. But we claim everything though.
Real quick, we've got just a couple more charts, and we're going to talk about MACA. We got so much more to talk about, but real quick, what flavor, Cheeky and Sean? What flavor are you looking at? I've got salted caramel hazelnut. You doing more of that? And then, what flavor are you looking at?
The glazed donut.
Glazed
Donut
donut
again.
Oh yeah.
Also, where's the power button? Because I'm holding this thing.
Oh yeah, your thumb's on it.
My thumb.
The power button. Yeah. Did it turn off?
Yeah, it turned off.
Yeah. So just.
Okay. All right.
Is it back? Okay.
Double click. Double click. And then it turned off again.
Oh, you know what? It might be if the battery might be dead. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So here, let's do this. Let's take this off.
Okay.
And then we'll take this off, so it'll be even lighter.
Okay.
And then we'll roll like that. That'll probably be way easier anyway.
All right, it turned off.
Oh, did it? Oh yeah, it did. Okay. So if we do this, there you go. Should be good now.
All right.
Is it? You might have to unplug it and plug it back in.
Okay.
Okay. So so this chart right here, real interesting. Employment from arts and cultural production. So walk me through this. This is from 2010 to 2019, essentially in the last decade. What is this rise right here that we're seeing?
That's the employment. So we've just seen more and more people getting employed. Obviously, more content needs more creators. So the more commercials that we have, the more pieces that we're building, we need to have people that can build those things. And so we're just seeing over the course of the last 10 years how many people have been added to that industry. And just like everything, it's the artists are the ones who can do this kind of stuff. So some people will, they don't want to take pictures of their Etsy stuff or their images for their website. They want someone else to do it. Other ones we're seeing, they have, there's a company, it's like a web restaurant company. Every single item they have on their website, they want a 3D model of it. So what do? They hire 3D modelers to build every single item that they sell in their store and create a 3D representation of that item. So that's just showing how many more people are being hired out in the industry, and then how much money they're bringing in because of that.
L, what's up, Sean and Matt?
Yeah,
Cheers from L. What is up? Good to see you. All right. So growth in the performing arts. Obviously, this is a
Not
good sign
necessarily
for us.
us, but
Well,
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But we still have a hand in that, right? So that show that I went to where they had the Mega 80s, right behind them, they still had like stuff animating and playing. And so that's not a direct performance of the art, but
Right.
that was still used in that performance. Right. Same thing for DJs and VJs and stuff. They have stuff going on in the background.
Mm-hmm.
We are seeing more things like, again, this isn't performance art, but the little hologram thing is something that's more of like a live thing that's out there that people could be using for live performances.
It adds to the experience, and it's all about the experience. So, man, the creative economy, we've kind of been talking about this. So what's the future? Where do you see things in the future? Like, do you what's your take on the Apple Vision Pro?
I think it's very cool, but it's very cool from Apple's perspective of them showing it on TV. Until I see it actually in hand, then that will be the deal, right?
Yeah.
Because Microsoft had their HoloLens, which I saw videos on. I'm like, this is amazing. We should look into this. As it started rolling out, people were like less impressed with how easy it was to interact with it.
Yeah.
And how easy it was. Because from our side, we're not looking at it from a training perspective to be like, we're going to use this to help train people on something. We're going to be the content builders. We're going to be the ones who are going to build that training material.
Right.
So how that happens is totally not simple compared to what they were promising when it first came out.
Yeah.
So we'll see when Apple has their stuff, when it actually comes out. The great thing about Apple is it's usually super simple to use.
Yeah.
If they want you to use it.
Yeah.
If they don't want you to use it, then it's very difficult to, break into those types of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's Apple. I see a lot of our stuff going more into digital, like more into the education and the training side of things, because there's so many more places that are doing that. There's less people that do want to go to a brick and mortar school and do want to attend school online. Now, that's not just for college. That's for high school, for grade school, and for all of those things. And so someone needs to build those, right?
Yeah.
Someone needs to build those training modules. Someone needs to take the photos of those pieces that they use in the training modules that get uploaded to those websites. So I see a lot of our stuff in education, more and more that way. I see a lot more of our stuff in interactivity, in entertainment arts. Every game that you play, there's going to be a virtual or VR version of it, right? If you're playing Call of Duty, you're going to be in the game, not just like playing it with a controller.
Yeah.
So we'll see a lot more of that too.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And things are just changing so fast. Like, it's not like we're just going to see this in our lifetime. Like, we're going to see, like,
Right.
it's
We're going to see it in the
happening.
next
Like, we're going to
decade.
blink and it's like, we're going to be in it. Like, it's just so wild. All right. So I want to shift gears here, and I want to brag about this place called Mocomb College. And who dat? I want to talk about the Media and Communication Arts department. So it's awesome that we've got you here tonight, Shaun, the program coordinator. And so tell me, so we've got some examples of student stuff, but tell me what this is. Is this an ad someone put together?
This was hilarious. So I went to Anchor Bay High School, and I'm getting ready to do a presentation for this class. I walk in, I set up my laptop, I'm just getting things ready. The students are about to start coming in. I look on the wall, and there's a picture of me photoshopped on someone from the Jets body. I'm assuming it's Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. I don't know football.
Yeah.
It says Shaun Rodgers. And I'm like, that is so hilarious because I don't come out there enough that they would know who I am.
Yeah.
Or that I would think that. But for some reason, someone found me and photoshopped me onto that. So I actually took a photo of this. And by the time they came in, I put that into my PowerPoint. I said, you might know me from Mocomb College or your wall. And like 3 students laughed and nobody else got it.
Oh my gosh.
So for some reason, these 3 students knew who I was.
Yeah.
But nobody else did.
Oh my gosh.
So I thought that was hilarious. That was just high schoolers just screwing around.
Yeah. That is epic. So tell me about this. I know what this is a little bit, and I think this is so rad, but walk me through what this is.
So Deanna Sheehan teaches a class. I believe it was Design 3 is what she was doing with this one. Maybe it was Advanced Digital Layout. But they had these design history. So they had to research specific eras in design history and then build Coke can labels based off of 3 different genres or 3 different eras that they found. And so this one is one that one of the students designed. So we took that design and we put that onto a 3D can just to, again, show what you can do those next steps. Because, again, we can take the design and leave it there and be done with it. But what a cool way to also show it off as an actual 3D can. So if you have your phone at home and you were to scan that QR code, you'd be brought to a 3D version of that can where you could actually spin around it and see what it looks like.
I love that. And it's so interactive. It's so cool. And you're seeing that everywhere. You're seeing that at like really big concerts where there's or like locations that you go to where there's like an interactive experience where suddenly you can look at something there or something 3D that you don't see otherwise. I just think that is so rad that you guys are doing that. That is so great.
And along the same vein, we have these icons. Again, this is another Deanna Sheehan created project. The students designed the icons in Illustrator. And again, they can be flat, but let's see what we can do. So using Figma, we're able to take those icon designs and put them into a layout. So not only can you see what the icons look like on a piece of paper or digitally, but you can actually see them on your phone and actually scroll through and see what those designs look like. And depending on the level of interactivity you want, you could actually make those do things. You could you click on one of those icons and it brings you right to that student's, their portfolio page. It may not sound like a lot, but years ago, we couldn't do this that easily. We could not throw something up on a phone for you to interact with that quickly.
Yeah. And, it's so cool. And I even love just like one of the things I really, especially Deanna, she's got such a good eye for this that she shares with students. Just looking at all 12 of these icons, they're beautiful. And there's something about, I think that's one of the great things about design is sometimes design isn't just what you're putting in, it's what you're taking away. And it's the idea a lot of times that less is more. And the art of really cool icons, whether it's for an app or whatever it is, like to be able to communicate something that doesn't need words. So it doesn't matter what language people speak. Anyone around the world could look at any of these apps or these buttons and they would know exactly what it's going to be when they click on it. Like that's, and it sounds like it's easy. Like, well, of course, but it's not that easy. Like if there was something like camping, like, do you know what you would do? Like, what would you do that represents camping? Like, is it as easy as doing a tent or a campfire? As if people might think, oh, this is the arson app. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's almost super complicated, yet also stripped down to the basics, and yet it's beautiful and simplified colors. I just think it's awesome, and it's an art form, as well as being design and everything. I think it's just so cool. L says represent. And Teddy D says it's a cool department. Oh yeah. And Deanna, oh, glad you're still hanging out with us. You guys are making me blush. The whole design department and the core classes have been revamped. I love my job. And I think that's a really cool thing that I think all of us instructors and professors, I think we're always trying to update and assess what we're doing. My classes are definitely not anywhere near what they were, when I started 20 years ago. Did I just say 20 years ago? I meant just a few years ago when I had just turned 30. Yeah.
But we have to. There's no way around it, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that does distinguish us from a YouTube or online training, is that you'll see stuff out there. It's like, here's how you design a logo, and they'll go through it. It's like, okay, I get what you're talking about, but none of those buttons are there. None of those ways are there. Even the output you're showing me isn't even used anymore. And then where does it go?
Yeah.
Right? It's about showing you that process now of what we're doing now and getting you to those next stages. I can show you how to model something 20 years ago. We're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
It's all different, right? 20 years ago, there's no way I could model a radio face that quickly in a day.
That's a really good point. And, a lot of times, it's funny you bring that up, because there are a lot of times where I'm working in a program and something's not working right. I need to troubleshoot it. So I go to Google, and right away, YouTube, a video pops up. I'm like, oh, sweet. And I start watching, and then I realize, oh my gosh, and it might only be the video might only be 2 years old, but already the video means nothing because it's already updated, and where they said this was not under that drop down anymore. Anyway, it is cool that we are constantly assessing and upgrading and keeping everything fresh. And this is just another example of it. Like this is legit. It looks so cool. I'm just so proud of everything we're doing. Speaking of Sheehans, we have this awesome brochure that another Sheehan put together. Shaun Sheehan put this together for us.
Delaney.
And Laney's the other mega force in the group. But this is really cool, and it might be a little hard to see. You definitely want to check us out online. First of all, you can register at mocomb.edu, but we even have a website of sorts, kind of, right?
It's more just kind of showing off some of the stuff. That's the hardest thing about not being able to control everything, is that we don't have control of Mocomb's website. We are only able to create our own stuff. So we do have sites that typically I create or we create pieces, and we can show them off to students.
And what's that website that they can check out?
maca@mocomb.com.
maca@mocomb.com.
And it's just samples. It's just videos, projects, different things. It gives you just a little teaser into some of the classes, some of the stuff that we're working on. It's always going to be updated. This is kind of like a part-time thing that as we get cool pieces, we get new stuff, we can start adding them to that list. But it does give you a little bit of a feel for, what kind of things that we're doing in there and what you can do. I think, I am obviously biased, but I think we probably have one of the best programs in the entire nation based off of what I've seen, especially at the community college level.
Mm-hmm.
We take you pretty deep into what you're learning because we want you to be ready for industry.
So I think there's two secrets to that, and there's two reasons why we're not just biased. And I think there's two things that kind of separate us from other schools. One is that we have most of these areas that would have commercial art-ish type classes. Usually we would be a branch in the fine art area. And so we would be mixed in with, life drawing and sculpture and everything else. And all of that stuff is great. All of that stuff is cool. But what's great about our program, somehow when it got started back in the day, we got this program started in engineering tech. So we're kind of in a trade school sort of area. What's great about it is when we want things like technology and computers, and when we want to experiment with some of the latest and greatest. In fact, when we have our committee advisory meeting, I want to ask for an Apple Vision just to play with. I want to see what it's like. And I'm going to get one. I'm pretty confident that, they're not going to say no. They're probably going to say, yeah, sure, which is awesome. But I feel like if we were if we were stuck in the fine arts area, which is kind of the liberal arts and sciences, we wouldn't have access to some of those resources, getting as much technology as much as we want or as quick as we want. And I think there's just something about that, that as a whole, our concern isn't just teaching drawing and painting and teaching animation, but teaching students how to take what they love to do and how to make money at it. So that's the first thing that I think makes us really, really unique that you don't see with a lot of other schools. The other that I think is really cool is when you look here and you can kind of see how everything's broken up. We have, I believe, 8 different specialties. We've got motion design, we've got interactive web media, design and layout, creative imaging and illustration, 3D animation, photography, video production, and collaborative media. What's really cool about this is all of these areas, there's a core foundation that we've kind of been talking about where it's common denominators that you would need for all of these. So just having a good sense of design, the ability to draw. Not everything is illustration, but the ability to draw will help you with storyboarding if you're going into filmmaking. The ability to draw, it's not like animation, especially 3D animation. You don't have to be able to draw really good, but having the ability to draw a little bit and understanding the fundamentals of it would, of course, help you with animation. So I love that we have this program core. We've got like these basic foundation classes that everyone takes, and then we've got the more advanced classes that kind of go into the specific areas, and then it's capstoned by a portfolio development class where students are putting together their portfolio, their demo reel, and Sean Sheehan, who runs that, is working with everyone one-on-one to custom help them build their resumes. I mean, it's amazing. No other schools that I know of do this specifically with each student one-on-one. It's absolutely incredible. What's your take on this?
Our biggest thing is that we have all of this, but we are being driven by what industry wants. That's who we listen to. Industry says anyone who comes into our company, we want to make sure they know photography. We want to make sure they know illustration to a certain level. We want them to know Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, blah, 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 all of these things. Even in those specialties, for 3D, they want them to know specific things. You're getting that. You're getting all of that training that you can get, and you're getting both sides of it. So one thing that we do really well is that we do train you on the tools. So like when you take a Photoshop class, you're learning Photoshop, but you're also learning the illustration side of Photoshop, the theoretical side of Photoshop as well. Some schools will only teach you theoretical. Some schools will only teach you program. We have a great balance of teaching you both of those things to get you ready. And I think above all of the stuff that we have here, we have a great team of teachers. And the teachers in our program work together so that when Matt says, hey, I'm teaching students how to draw characters in figure, great. Now we can apply that knowledge to Illustrator and use Illustrator to reinforce what he's learning or teaching them. And then when we get to animation class, we can reinforce those skills as well to say, yeah, you know how you drew the arm like this? Well, now we're going to animate it like that. And when we get to 3D animation, we do the same thing. And so all of your stuff isn't just like a one-time you're being taught it and that's it. You're constantly being reinforced through all of these things. Even the icons that you see there, the idea is that you draw those icons, and then when you get to web class, you've already drawn icons. So you know how to build icons. So you can apply those things to your website. When you do a hologram, same thing. You could animate those in After Effects. You could animate them in 3D. You could draw them inside of Illustrator. And all the stuff that we're doing is connected outside to industry, and it's also connected outside of even Michigan to show you what they're doing at huger companies. Like if you ever followed Ash Thorpe, he's like one of the geniuses behind like most of the stuff that you see out in industry. For at one point it was just interfaces, and now it's like he did the Batmobile and all that stuff. But you can see like the stuff that we're doing in our classes is the same stuff that he was doing in his stuff. And we spend a lot of our time in the classroom teaching and grading and helping students, but we also spend a lot of our time outside of class learning stuff and watching other people and talking to industry and talking to future students and trying to help connect them to where they're at in their current position in life and trying to get them to where they may want to be. Every student is different. Our programs are there to help guide you, but you may not end up in just one of those. You might end up in 2 or 3 of them. Some of our students who go through, let's say, photography, they may take the photography degree, and then after only 3 or 4 more classes, they can also get the video degree. And so now they have 2 degrees. And so someone who might end up with, that foundation of photo adds video to that adds all that extra stuff that they can also do. And so it really adds a whole lot of skills, which is where the value is. The value isn't in the piece of paper degree. The value is in those skills that you're getting out of it. Those degrees are markers to say that you've gone through those steps. You've done it. That's a checkbox. Doesn't mean that you're going to be the best photographer. Doesn't mean you're going to be, hired by the #1 company. It means you've done those check boxes. In our industry, you have to be, you have to work. You have to do the work. You have to be someone who, Matt's always drawing and creating and doing stuff. I'm doing the same thing. Everyone who wants to work in this industry has to do those things. Doesn't mean we don't take time to play video games or hang out or watch movies. But even when we're doing that, we're still learning.
I was going to say anytime we are, usually I'm like, in my mind, I'm taking notes. I'm watching a movie. I'm like, oh, that was so cool. Man, how did they edit that? That was really neat.
Yep.
And how can I utilize that? Can I do something like that with the footage I have for this project I'm working on now? It's wild that we're always doing that. Gerbot.net. Do you remember Jeremy Bott? He says, ho, ho, Shaun, wonder if he remembers the Jeremy that he invited over for board games.
I do. Jeremy that loved Blender so much. And Jeremy who came to our advisory meeting. And then did.
Oh, that's right.
Was it Annie? You did an animation of Annie, and you came and did a presentation at some point for our group. I 100% remember.
And he's living large and in charge in, wait, don't tell me. Okay, you might have to tell me. Canada. What's the hip place on the West Coast?
Vancouver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was almost 10 years ago, LOL. Shaun's a good guy. Good to see him again. Great to hear he's still teaching. Wow, what a memory. Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
For now.
That's awesome. All right. So now I got a slap on the wrist. I didn't really get a slap on the wrist, but I shared some photos that was still under construction of the new building. Can't wait. It's about to be unveiled, but this is an artist rendering. And I love that they made, it almost looks like a river going in for, like, this is where the boats pull up in front.
I always have a disclaimer. I've said we did not add a water feature.
But that's
a moat.
That's a trick. They do this in films all the time. They spray the concrete to make it look wet. That way there's reflections and it's just more cinematic looking. But here it looks weird because it's like this sunshiny day, yet it looks like a tropical rainstorm just came through. Anyway, this is our new T building. Cannot wait for you guys to see it. It opens up. Classes start in 3 weeks, and can't wait to start sharing more with that. We've got our facilities in a new building. So what I wanted to chat about, though, is even though we're in a new building, there's lots of different ways that we are learning. And so I wanted to kind of talk about some of the different things. So obviously up until, well, I guess we were already doing some online classes, but for the most part, we were mostly on ground. But obviously with the pandemic, that forced everyone remote. And now we've got a smorgasbord of opportunities. So I wanted you to share some of what we're doing with our classes.
Absolutely. So pre-COVID, we had basically on ground. 90% of our classes came through on ground. You came to class, you sat in a seat, you worked on your stuff right there in the classroom. We had some online classes, so students who couldn't make it on campus, they were able to take an online class. Usually there was the beginners, Photoshop and Illustrator and whatnot. We had some hybrids we kind of played with a little bit. And then once COVID hit, that first chunk of COVID, we were remote. Most of our classes were remote. You would log in at a certain time. Your teacher was there. They would lecture. They would go through material, and it was all handled through Zoom or some Zoom-like interface. Now that we're coming back on campus, we have several modalities and things that kind of change names and whatever. So we have online. So that's the new terminology for a virtual class. So if you never wanted to see your instructor's face, talk to them live, you could sign up for an online class. And anyone in the world could sign up for an online class. You log in, you look at the videos, you read the material, you complete the assignments, you submit the work, and it's all kind of paced out throughout each week for the entire semester.
But I think it's also important to point out online classes are asynchronous, to sort of talk about how that's different from what you're probably going to talk about next.
Yep. So that asynchronous just means you're never there at the same time. So your instructor will never have like a specific class time. So if you're like some of my students who work at 3 a.m, because that's your time that you're up, you log in, work at 3 a.m, and then make sure your stuff is turned in.
But with an online class, it's also plausible, although maybe not recommended. It's plausible. You could just, right when the class opens, you could go off and running, and you could maybe complete the class, even though it's a 16-week semester. It's plausible. You could go through in like 4 weeks or something and just do all the work and turn it in, and then you'd be done with it, as long as you finish it from the time it starts and obviously at the end of the semester.
For some classes, yes. So other classes, there is more like feedback that gives you. Yeah. So in some classes, like our Photoshop one, some of the assignments are you have to hit this point, turn stuff in, get feedback from the instructor, make changes, and then move on.
Yeah. So
you have to make sure you're hitting those. And then you also have to give feedback. And then sometimes we are changing things kind of along the way.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's always best to, check that out with every class that you're taking. So you're not like jumping too far ahead and we're going to change something.
Yeah.
So that's online. That's the same thing we basically were doing before. We still have on ground. So you'll see those as, listed as South Campus classes. All of our classes that are on ground are at South Campus in the new T building. It's super awesome, brand new facility. Our rooms, we haven't been there with this thing completed. They're still finishing it. But we're excited to be in the new building and see all of this interactivity back and forth. At the temporary building, we were kind of like spread out a little bit and kind of scattered some.
Plus, we've got giant facilities now for video and photo. We can actually bring in automobiles if we want to it's just bananas. Some of the things we can do.
And even for 3D and motion design, we'll have our own studio for that as well, which is really cool.
Oh my gosh.
We won't have to share the back of a classroom anymore.
Yeah.
So those are the two typical ones we've seen before. Hybrids are still going to exist. Some hybrids are going to be, you're going to go on ground one day, and then you'll have something to do off or online the next day. So you'll still meet, or you still have like a 6-hour class you should kind of block in for. But 3 hours is going to be on ground. The other 3 hours might be virtual. They might have an instruction like for, let's say, figure. You come on ground on Monday, you're doing actual figure illustration stuff in class. Wednesday, hey, watch these videos on things that we're going to go over next week. So when you come in next week, you're ready to tackle those challenges. So that way you're doing some stuff outside of class, some stuff in class, and it's a good balance of on ground and online.
Mm-hmm.
We have remote still. So there are still some classes where you can just still work from home and just log in at that correct time and just work with the instructor during those times. Every remote class is different. Sometimes you might be meeting for 3 hours, one class, and then 2 hours the next class, or 1 hour and 2 hours, or they might meet with students throughout. Again, check with your instructor to see what those are.
So now there's one more thing. There's one more Mac Daddy that is like, and you're doing this with all of your classes, right?
Yep.
This blows my mind. And I know you're not the only teacher doing this, but I think this is so cool. And I feel like this is so, because I know this is a lot of extra work on your part to do this. This is like so selfless of you, but it is so great that you are making this option for students. So tell us about this.
So this is what's called HighFlex. So some students want to come to class. Okay. They love the brick and mortar. They love sitting in a seat. They love being able to raise their hand and get help right away. They love working in a distraction-ish free environment. So they love coming to class to do that. Some students, they can't get to class. They don't want to. They want to stay at home. They want to work from there. They work better when they're working from home at their own stuff. So this is high flex. So students have that ability to either come to class or work from home. And you don't have to tell your instructor which days you're coming in. You don't have to decide when you register for the classes. You can decide on a daily basis. On Monday, we may say, okay, Monday, we're going to go through and we're going to talk about X, Y, and Z. This is what we're doing. We go through these steps, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's working on their stuff. Wednesday, we're going to go over your material. So if you want to, show it to me virtually, you can do that. You want to come in and work on it that way, you can come in and work on it that way. It gives you that flexibility to be able to work from home or work in school. Now, if you work from home with those flex classes, you have to have the software, you have to have the equipment, and you should make sure that you have like a distraction-free environment. You don't want to be have the circus going on behind you while you're trying to learn about 3D modeling inside of Maya or inside of Fusion or any of those things. You want to make sure that you're ready to go with all of these. So if you have a nice little area where you can do the work, your computer's powerful enough to do the work, it's a great opportunity. Me, I was super excited after COVID was, done-ish, whatever. It's not fully done anytime, I don't think, but going back, I was super excited. I love being in class. I love engaging with students, seeing what they're working on. And I also love the other stations when we're rendering stuff out. We can jump over to those. We can render things on those computers. The stations that we have are pretty decent. Plus, you get access to the other gear. So if we have iPads, you can use iPads. If we have mocap suits, you can use the mocap suits. VR headsets, you can use those. You don't have to dish out money for software, dish out money for extra hardware. You can come right to class and use all of those types of things right there. And you can see what other people are doing. That was one thing that, for a lot of people,
That's a huge one.
That isolation of I'm working on stuff, I'm seeing what my instructor is talking about, and then I'm just doing it, and I'm never engaging really with other students. Mm-hmm. And so that's one thing that we really lost during COVID, that we, to some extent, we tried to help build those, but you can't replace it. Yeah. To be able to just look over and see what Matt's working on, or walk down the hallway and see what people are doing in other rooms, it's huge. Yeah. And I think with the new building, you're going to be super excited that you can walk down the hallway and see what are people doing in these other rooms, what work is going on here, what stuff is up on the walls. I'm excited for it because I used to love being able to walk out of my classroom and just do a lap around the building and just see, even in the welding and the machining areas, what they're doing. Yeah. I think it's really cool to see it. So the Flex module is great because it allows you to do either one of those. Now, some of them allow you to also not need to be on ground at the same, or not be in class at the same time. So for my class, let's say you sign up for 3D modeling and rendering. Okay, there's one section of it, but you work the same time that 3D modeling and rendering is there. You can still take that class and just watch the recordings of the lectures that we had, still submit the work, and still do the other stuff. So you can still do that even if you're not available at that same exact time. The biggest thing that we always get is, if you have a question, ask us. We're here to help you. We've all been students before. We've all seen those struggles. We know what it's like to have, this specific plan that you're trying to hit and get out the door. And so we want to be there to help you with it. And if it's a class substitution, if it's something that we can do to help get you along the way, we want to do it because we want to make sure that you're being prepared. But we also don't want to shortchange you. I don't want you taking a class that's not going to benefit you at all just to, get your money or, have you sit in a seat. I want you to be in a room that's going to push you further into your area. I want you to be inspired. I want you to be excited when you come to school. I want you to play with cool toys and bring cool toys in, like things that you found. I want you to talk to other students, and I want you to see what they're doing because, again, it's that's the fun part, right? Yeah. You can watch YouTube, If you're watching YouTube, then why would it matter if you're getting a piece of paper or not? Come to class, see what we're doing, or engage with your instructors. Like those are the things that are really going to make it worthwhile. We have a question.
Yeah, there's a question. There's a couple comments that we need to jump to, but I saw this one. I wanted to bring it up real quick just because this is something I was actually thinking about the other day. So Vlaber says, question, I learned how to draw by looking at pictures and drawing them. When I was 8 or 9, I traced comics, but I didn't like my art teacher saying I shouldn't use reference pictures to draw. So this is really interesting that you bring this up. Actually, I remember before I even knew about the GCA program, I was in the fine arts area, and I had a teacher that I really respected, but he was way more into it was probably not the teacher to ask this, but at the time, I really wanted to break into comics, and I was just drawing stuff on my own out of my head, and I would read comic books, but I wasn't really like looking at comics and seeing how they, because for some reason I felt like maybe I should just use my own voice or something. So, but I was starting to struggle with it because I felt like I wasn't improving enough. So I asked my teacher, I said, on my own, like in my sketchbook, should I be doing studies of other artists or like practicing, like maybe tracing what they're doing just to like figure out how they're drawing anatomy or this and that? And the teacher that I asked said, no, you never want to do that. You want to come up with your own voice. You never want to, because that's stealing someone else's art. That's someone else's style. Make your own style. You don't want to do that. And it totally made sense. And I was like, oh, yeah, totally. So for the next couple of years, I would read comic books, but when I was doing my own art or my own studies, I did not look at anything else on purpose. And I really felt like I wasn't improving. And so what happened though, there was one fateful day where I was drawing my own comic books, and I always had trouble drawing noses. And I just they always looked so bad. And I was getting really frustrated with it. And so I said, you know what? I know I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm just fed up with it. And I had the latest issue of Spider-Man. I'm going to go through and I'm going to draw every single nose, and I'm going to see how they did it. So I went through, and right away I could see common denominators, and the way that they were drawing noses was so easy, but it blew my mind. And I started doing, anyway, what I realized, I was probably asking the wrong person. What I realized is absolutely there is nothing wrong, especially if it's for your own studies. You should absolutely be looking at some of your favorite artists. And there's nothing wrong with doing a study, tracing something. You wouldn't want to make a whole comic book and trace other people's drawings and then be like, oh yeah, I did this all by myself. But if you're learning and you're practicing and you're just doing studies, absolutely. What's great about it is you can learn from looking at another artist. You can learn in a half hour what took them 12 years of study to kind of figure out. So I think it's actually a great way when you're first learning how to draw is absolutely to take a look at the best and to try to figure out some common denominators between all of the artists that you admire. I would say absolutely. And it's odd that some teachers would say not to. Again, there is a thing where you don't want to plagiarize. You don't want to trace someone else's work, sign it, and be like, oh, I created this all by myself. But if you're doing a study and you're practicing and it's like a doodle in your sketchbook or something, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Right. And that's what most serious artists do, is that the first step is always to get lots of reference, look for different things, and then that's what you're drawing. And you're only going to find your style by experimenting and playing around with different styles to see what you like best. You may have something that looks, photorealistic that you like, but your style ends up being more stylized and more simplified. There's nothing wrong with any of that.
Teddy D says, what works for you is what works for you.
Yep.
And I got to say, there are so many times where I'll be flipping through Instagram, some of my favorite artists, and I'll see a color palette that maybe I've never used before. And I'll be like, ooh, and I'll be like, note to self, like, I'm gonna do something. Maybe one of my next pieces, I want to do something like that. Flabber says, thank you. Of course, And Gerbot says, for your information, a few weeks ago, I got my box of Aladdin goodies all the way up here in Vancouver, BC. Everything looks great. Awesome. Thank you so much. So again, registering for the fall, now is a good time to get all of your ducks in a row because classes start in 3 weeks. You want to make sure that you can get in some of the classes that are still available. Also note, we've got 2 new programs here in Michigan that make it, if you're looking for financial aid, oh my gosh, there's some really cool programs that are paying for all of your tuition. And there's some similarities with these 2, with Michigan Reconnect and the Mocomb Tuition Advantage. And I'm trying to remember what the difference is. Reconnect is if you're 25 or over.
Yep.
And
they may be adjusting the age, but yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah, and then and one of these, or maybe both of these, it's if you don't have a degree yet, and one of these is if your family household income is less than 70 grand a year. So there's a couple, but there's just a couple stipulations, and it's pretty easy if you're looking for financial aid. This is like full tuition. It's awesome that we're offering some of this. Okay, real quick, I wanted to. I've just got a couple more housekeeping before we adjourn this meeting. But so again, the Aladdin 3477 Official Collector's Edition. I'm digging that you guys are into it. In a couple weeks, I'm going to be releasing on YouTube a full audio book. So you're going to hear the whole thing narrated by me. And it's cool because I'm flipping through the pages digitally. And as I'm reading through, it kind of zooms in on some of the different areas, which is fun. I've got just a couple more of the screenings for executive producers and those of you that got the red carpet experience. I may have 2 of them this week. But I'm almost finished with all of those. There's a really cool video that's dropping in a couple weeks. It's a behind the scenes video hosted by Steve Pankatai, who was the first assistant director. And it's really cool because it's kind of introducing a series of short behind the scenes videos. I can't wait to show you more with it. But this is a really cool video that kind of shows a well-rounded look at how we made these movies. I can't wait for that. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to HFR, the Horror Film Roulette. So this is happening in, I believe the kickoff is happening in September, but obviously closer to Halloween is the showcase. Right now, leading up to, it's going to be the 10th anniversary of this. And it's kind of like a film festival, but and it's where people create a short film, but instead of having 48 hours, you have 4 weeks to get a group together to make a 5-minute film. You have to spin the wheel of horror, and there's different genres like monster and zombie and supernatural. But right now, you can go to horrorfilmroulette.com. There's going to be a new genre on the wheel, and you guys get to vote for what the new genre is going to be. And your choice is body horror or vampire. So I'm curious, what's are you into horror movies at all?
I used to be really into them.
Okay. So if you had to choose, what would you
rather
go
with the body horror? I think
Me
it's just so
too.
different.
Yeah. I mean, that would be crazy. I mean, which one is scary? I feel like vampires, and it's a cool genre. I know a lot of people are into vampires, but I just feel like it's kind of overplayed. But body horror already, that's creepy.
It's
like
very
right
creepy.
from the
I love
get-go.
it. I love it. I would definitely choose that one if I could.
Yeah. Cheeky Morero, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
What would you vote? Have you voted?
No, not yet, because I'm debating. I don't
Really?
I don't think we've seen a vampire film in all the 10 years that
Really?
we've done HFR.
I don't
But
know that
I'm
we
a
have.
body horror guy. My favorite movie is The Thing.
Oh yeah,
The
the
Fly
thing. I
freaked me
forgot
out
about that.
when
And
I
the
was
fly.
younger.
I didn't even think of the fly. Oh my gosh. I'm thinking of like the Japanese, like the really creepy, the creepy horror movies that's kind of popular with them. That's
Oh, I love it.
yeah. Teddy D says, I got my Aladdin goodies last week, I think. Thank you. Almost forgot. Awesome, Ted. Thank you so much. Awesome. Horror Film Roulette. Woot, woot. All right. And the live stream lounge is now an official podcast on YouTube. So I don't know what that means, but for those of you that listen to all your live stream or all of your podcasts on YouTube, be sure to add us there so that you can catch up. Always Sunday nights at 9 p.m. EST. That is the show for today. Shaun, thank you so much for hanging out in the live stream. I appreciate it. We got some last minute peace and chicken grease. And Daniel Petrosky says, oh man, I took classes from this Matt way back in the day at Mocomb. Daniel, what is up? So thank you so much for coming by. I'm excited to start the new semester in a new building.
Yeah.
And I think the future looks bright. I'm excited for.
This has been your first time back in the building since pre-COVID.
It is. I'm a little. I don't know why. I'm not really nervous, but I think I will be. Like a couple. Like, what if I'm like, I don't know.
What if you forget how to be in the classroom?
Yeah. Like what's the etiquette?
Are you
of
gonna wear
things?
pants?
Like,
Or are you gonna still go Zoom outfit?
I gotta remember not to wear my Zoom outfit. Yeah. No, I'm super excited about the new building, and I can't wait to share more of what it is once we get to start decorating and everything. It is going to be just awesome. Oh, Jade Sterling, what is up? Nice show, guys.
Hey,
nice to
Jade.
hear from you. And Flabber says, thanks, guys, and let's go blue.
Macomb blue, right?
Macomb blue.
Yep,
there you
that's
go.
right.
The Monarchs blue. Awesome. All right. And with that, I scroll over here. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. It has been awesome. For now, hasta la Winnebago.